Today's story is about a love that began in silence and blossomed into something unforgettable. So, settle in, this one's gonna touch your heart. Chicago in October, a crisp autumn chill drifted through the neon-lit streets, wrapping the city in its familiar hum. Under the soft glow of an old bookstore's yellow sign, Eva Monroe, 26, walked quietly along the crowded sidewalk. Her brown hair was tied in a low bun, a pale khaki coat draped over her shoulder, and a canvas crossbody bag hung by her side. She wore a long skirt and low heels. Simple, almost invisible in the rush of the evening crowd. All day, Ava had sat in front of her monitor, tweaking designs that no one truly noticed. As a graphic designer at a small advertising agency, she handled social media posts, promotional banners, and festive e-cards for clients she'd never meet. She did her job well, but she never stood out. Her colleagues were kind, but no one truly knew her. That afternoon, her manager had said plainly, "You're good, Eva, but not quite promotion material yet." The words didn't shout, but they pricked her pride like a quiet needle, sharp, small, and unshakable. Eva didn't protest. She just nodded, walked away, and whispered inwardly, "It's fine. I'm used to it." Back in her modest fourth-floor apartment in Lakeview, she'd make herself a cup of herbal tea, open her half-read book, and curl up beneath the warm yellow light. She didn't need much, or at least, that's what she told herself. But somewhere deep inside, something was missing, a quiet emptiness that had been growing slowly, a sense of drifting, of moving through a dazzling, noisy city that somehow never quite felt like home. A few blocks away, high on the 38th floor of a sleek glass tower, Liam Carter, 32, sat alone in his office. The city lights shimmered through the floor-to-ceiling windows behind him, casting faint glows across the polished dark wood floors. His dark gray suit was still on, though the tie had been loosened. His brown hair was neatly styled, but the slight crease on his brow betrayed exhaustion. A cold espresso sat untouched on the desk. Beside it lay a contract, canceled at the last minute by a once reliable partner. Liam had everything: talent, charm, recognition, but beneath the image of a sharp CEO was a hollow, restless man. He often joked with his friends, "Love is just chemicals, it comes and goes." He'd dated women, brilliant, beautiful women, but none had made him want to stay. In the boardroom, he was decisive, commanding, capable of silence that could crush an opponent. But once the lights dimmed and the room grew still, the silence terrified him. Tonight, he should have been home, phone off, letting the stress of the failed deal slip away. But instead, he remained at his desk, staring out into the glowing cityscape, thinking about something he couldn't name. It wasn't the deal. It wasn't the money. It was something far quieter, an ache, like he was moving too fast, chasing too much, and missing the one thing that truly mattered. The Fairmont Hotel in downtown Chicago gleamed like a palace of glass. Inside its grand ballroom, hundreds of guests in elegant attire laughed, traded business cards, and clinked champagne glasses beneath cascading crystal chandeliers. Ava Monroe stood quietly by the wall, fingers wrapped around a half-filled glass of white wine. Her simple black dress hugged her slender frame just right, but in a sea of glittering gowns and dazzling confidence, she felt invisible. She hadn't wanted to come tonight, but her boss, Emily, had insisted. Networking is how you grow in this industry. Just hours earlier, Eva had been passed over for a promotion she'd worked toward for 6 months. Late nights, pixel-perfect designs, everything done with care. And the only feedback? You're good, but not standout. So tonight, she wasn't trying. She just wanted to disappear. Across the room, Liam Carter stood at the bar. No suit jacket, no tie, just a crisp white shirt and dark slacks. He sipped bourbon over ice, barely listening to the business chatter buzzing around him. His mind drifted, unfocused. Until he saw her. Ava didn't look like the women who usually circled Liam. No red lips, no forced laughter. But there was something in her eyes, soft, sad, distant, that made him stop. He crossed the room, sat beside her without asking. "Doesn't this feel more like a business card auction than an actual party?" he said, voice low with a teasing lilt. Eva flinched, nearly spilling her wine. She glanced sideways. Maybe. Liam tilted his head, eyes gleaming with quiet curiosity. Let me guess. You were dragged here. Your boss called it a golden opportunity, didn't she? Eva looked up and, for the first time that evening, smiled. Is it that obvious? Clear as day, Liam chuckled, lifting his glass. I just lost a major deal. How about a toast for us, the losers of the evening? Eva hesitated, then tapped her glass gently against his. She didn't know why, but for the first time in weeks, she felt just a little bit lighter. That night, the city outside remained loud and restless. Car horns, distant laughter, flashes of neon spilling from rooftop bars. But inside the high-rise hotel room, there were just two strangers, quietly stepping beyond the walls they'd built around their solitude. Eva sat near the window, fingers gently holding a glass now nearly empty. Liam stood by the table, shirt unbuttoned at the collar, his usual confidence softened into something quieter, almost vulnerable. They talked, not much, not fast, just scattered fragments of life, work that drained them, dreams they once had, failures they didn't dare say aloud to anyone else. And then, a simple touch. His hand brushed hers, unintentional but lingering. Liam reached out, slowly, taking her hand fully this time. His eyes asked a question. Eva didn't pull away. Her breath slowed, and in that silent moment, they both understood something unspoken. They kissed, gently at first, then deeper. No promises, no names for what it meant, just two people letting go. For one night, they weren't a powerful CEO and an overlooked designer. They were simply a man and a woman, weary and wandering, finding something real in each other's arms. Sometime before dawn, Eva woke in silence. Liam still slept, his face soft, almost peaceful. She rose carefully, retrieving her dress and bag. She didn't want to wake him. She wasn't sure she could face him. Before leaving, she found a pen and scribbled a few lines on hotel stationery, setting the note beside his half-finished glass of bourbon. Just one night, thank you for seeing me. And then she slipped out. No goodbyes, no future plans, just a heart quietly aching for something it didn't yet understand. That morning, Eva Monroe sat quietly on the early morning train, her head resting against the cold glass window, her eyes vacant. The city of Chicago passed by like a silent film on a streetlight. Streetlights, towering buildings, blurred faces. But she didn't truly see any of it. Her mind was still trapped in that hotel room from the night before. She told herself it was just one night, let it go. But the heart rarely listens to reason. All day, Eva sat in front of her screen trying to finish a new brochure design, but her eyes kept drifting. Every time her hand paused on the mouse, the memories returned, the first touch, that unspoken glance, the warmth of leaning into him. She didn't know Liam Carter well, only a few scattered stories, but there was something about him that made her feel seen, heard, something she hadn't felt in years. As for Liam, things weren't much better. He sat through meetings, nodding at reports while his thoughts wandered elsewhere. He opened his laptop, wanting to email her, but had no address, no phone number. He didn't even know her full name. Only her eyes, her soft smile, and the note. Just one night. That evening, he returned to his sleek apartment, staring at the untouched bourbon on the table. Instead, he pulled the folded note from his jacket pocket, opened it, and read it again. Then again. He wondered, why can't I stop thinking about a girl I met only once? No one knew what exactly had changed during that night, but from that moment on, neither of them felt quite the same. Weeks had passed since that night, and Eva had done her best to bury the memory of Liam deep inside her. She threw herself into work, took on more projects, and forced herself to stay calm, even when the nights got quiet and too long. That morning, she arrived at the headquarters of VitalCore, a rising health tech firm that had just signed a design contract with Phoenix Creative. The pitch meeting was held on the 45th floor, where she and her team would present their branding concept. She had no idea she was about to come face to face with the man she thought she'd never see again. As the door opened, Eva stepped inside and stopped in her tracks. At the head of the table, bathed in soft morning light, was Liam Carter. He saw her instantly. No hesitation, no confusion. His expression froze for a beat, then softened into a small, surprised smile, one that carried warmth and something unreadable. Eva's pulse quickened, but she held her ground. She walked to the table as if nothing had happened. "Good morning," she said, voice steady. "I'm Eva Monroe, representing the design team." Liam tilted his head slightly, eyes never leaving hers. "I know. It's good to see you again, Eva." From that moment on, he didn't stop watching her. In every following meeting, he made a point to sit near her, ask for her opinion, and now and then, throw in a quiet, disarming tease that left her speechless. He didn't rush, but it was clear he was reaching for her again step by step, without hiding it. Since that first meeting, Liam Carter made no secret of his intention to get closer to Eva. He didn't use grand gestures or charming speeches. Instead, he showed up in subtle, consistent ways. The lingering glances in meetings, the questions he asked that somehow always included her. One morning, Eva arrived at the office to find a vanilla latte on her desk, exactly how she liked it, along with a small handwritten note. "For the quiet one, who somehow stays on my mind all day." She knew instantly it was from Liam. She should have returned it, maybe ignored it, but the warm, sweet scent was too comforting. She took a sip, and something inside her softened. In team discussions, he kept things professional, but just barely. "I support Eva's idea," he said once, eyes twinkling. "Not just because it's smart, but because the way she presented it made me forget I'm the CEO." The room laughed. Eva blushed, turning away, but a smile tugged at her lips. Still, she kept her distance. She couldn't let emotions take over. Liam was a CEO, successful, charismatic, and far removed from someone like her. She feared it was just a game, something fleeting, and that she'd be the one left behind. But he didn't push. He just stayed, steady, sincere, as if to say, "I'm not going anywhere no matter how far you try to keep me." One late December afternoon, after a long and exhausting meeting, Liam approached Eva as she was gathering her things. "Do you have plans tonight?" he asked gently. Eva looked up, hesitating for a second. "Probably just instant noodles at home." He chuckled. "How about changing the menu? There's this little Italian place in Old Town. I think you'd like it." She hesitated, then nodded. That evening, the small restaurant glowed with warm amber lights, soft jazz playing from a corner speaker. They ordered wood-fire pizza and red wine. They didn't talk about work, just little things, favorite books, least favorite foods, ridiculous childhood memories. After dinner, they stepped out onto the quiet streets, Chicago sparkling with holiday lights. The air was cold, but it didn't feel distant. Liam tucked his hands in his coat pockets and tilted his head toward her. "Eva," he said softly. She looked up. His eyes on hers, no rush, no theatrics, just quiet sincerity. "I'm not great with romantic words," he began, "but I know this. I want to be with you, not just over meetings or a few dinners. I mean really, with you." Eva didn't move. Her heart pounded, not from surprise, but from how deeply she had wished for this too. Eva's eyes welled with unshed tears. 1,000 fears echoed in her mind. What if this was fleeting? What if she wasn't enough? But in his gaze, she saw none of that. Just a quiet truth. For so long, she had told herself not to hope, but tonight, for the first time, she wanted to believe. She swallowed, took a shaky breath and whispered, "Okay, let's try." She didn't answer right away, but her fingers reached out and gently took his hand. From that night on, they were together. Not loudly, not with grand declarations, just quietly, in the way he'd leave her latte on her desk each morning, in the way she'd text, "Did you eat?" before leaving the office, in the way they strolled down the quieter streets of Chicago, fingers intertwined, while the world hushed around them. One afternoon, while having lunch with co-workers, Eva glanced at a trending news article on someone's phone. The headline read, "Vital Core CEO Liam Carter engaged to financial heiress Amelia Drake." She froze. The article showed Liam in a black suit, standing beside a stunning woman with a perfect smile, powerful, polished, and unmistakably suited to his world. Eva's hands trembled as the headline stared back at her. The noise in the room faded, the laughter, the forks scraping against plates, the casual conversation, everything blurred. Her stomach twisted, her breath caught in her throat. It felt like the floor beneath her had disappeared. But she didn't say a word. She blinked quickly, forcing back the sting in her eyes. And then, like she had always done, she smiled. Because breaking down in front of them wasn't an option. She blinked rapidly, forcing the tears back. Then, like always, she smiled. Because breaking down at the lunch table would only make her feel smaller. That night, she returned to her apartment, shut her laptop, turned off her phone, and sat in silence for hours. She didn't call him, didn't ask. She'd been overlooked before, but this felt deeper, crueler. She submitted her resignation that night with only one line. Due to personal reasons, I am stepping away effective immediately. Thank you for everything. Then she packed lightly, caught a late-night train, and left Chicago with a broken heart and the quiet ache of knowing perhaps she was only ever meant to be passing through his life. Liam Carter felt it. The shift, the unanswered messages, the silence. Ava had once been just a floor away, her presence steady and close. Now, it was as if she had vanished completely. Then he saw her resignation email, simple, cold. Due to personal reasons, I am stepping away, effective immediately. No explanation, no hint of anger, just gone. He stood in his office for hours, staring at the empty screen, heart pounding with questions he couldn't answer. Why had she left? Had anything between them been real? Or was he nothing more than just one night to her after all? Then the rumors began, reports of his supposed engagement to Amelia Drake. And in that instant, he understood. Ava saw it, and she believed it. He slammed his fist onto the desk, not over the press or business, but because he had let her walk away without stopping her, without telling her the truth. The engagement party went on, glittering and grand, but as he stood beside Amelia, the woman his family had chosen, Liam felt nothing. He looked up, his voice cutting through the ballroom like a blade. I'm sorry I can't do this. The woman I love isn't here tonight. Silence fell. His parents looked outraged. Amelia stood frozen. Reporters surged forward, snapping photos of the unthinkable scene. Liam didn't care. He walked off the stage, out of the ballroom, heart racing with a single mission. He had to find Eva. That same night, he called his assistant, voice tight with urgency. He demanded every trace of information, an address, a number, anything. Cold rain poured over the quiet town where Eva Monroe had taken refuge with her family. She sat on the back porch, cradling a lukewarm cup of tea, eyes fixed on the gray horizon. Days had passed, yet the ache in her chest refused to fade. Then came a voice from the front door. Eva. She shot up. That voice, she knew it instantly. Her heart slammed against her ribs. She froze mid-step. Was it really him? Her legs refused to move at first. No, she must have misheard. It couldn't be. But that voice, it wasn't a memory. It was real, right outside. She stood still, trembling. Her mind said, don't go. Her heart had already sprinted. And then she moved, half hope, half fear, toward the door. Rushing to the front, she froze. Liam Carter stood soaked in the rain, his shirt clinging to him, hair dripping, eyes filled with desperation and fatigue. He was breathless, but his gaze never wavered. You left, without a word, he said, voice raw. You really thought I didn't care? Eva turned away, tears spilling silently. I saw the photo. You and her. I was nothing, Liam. Just a quiet girl in a world I didn't belong to. Liam stepped closer, took her hand and held it tightly. You were everything. You're the reason I walked away from that engagement in front of everyone. I didn't come here to apologize. I came because I love you. She looked at him, lips trembling, her heart pounded like thunder in her chest. I'm scared, she whispered. He cupped her face gently. So am I. But I'm more scared of losing you. and in that rain she let herself fall into him, where even the storm felt warm. That autumn, beneath golden maple trees in a quiet little town, Ava Monroe wore a simple white dress. Her hair fell in soft waves, adorned with a crown of wild daisies. There was no grand ballroom, no luxury, just her parents' backyard with wooden chairs arranged in neat rows, white linens over handmade tables, and a wedding cake her mother baked with love. Liam Carter waited beneath an arch of ivy and country flowers, his gaze gentler than ever. When Eva walked toward him, hand in hand with her father, no words were needed. Everything was spoken in their eyes. Their vows were short, imperfect, but honest. "I used to think love was fleeting," Liam said, "until you walked into my life, quiet like the wind, and made me want to stay." Eva smiled through tears. "I used to think I wasn't enough, but you made me believe I deserve happiness." And beneath the soft autumn sky they kissed, simple, deep, and forever, because sometimes the quietest love stories are the ones that echo the longest.